Today I'm going to show you a lot of different ways to break the defending grip in the armbar. So in the armbar, there's 3 segments. First you have to enter until here. Now we have to open the hands and then we can finish, anybody can. So opening the hands, breaking his defense is one of the major problems in the armbar. And there's several ways to do it. One of the ways will be that I simply have my hand in and I push into his elbow pit and pull a lot. So it works with almost any grip if you do it right. I will use my hip side arm because it's more secure for me to have the head side arm free. And I enter it until my elbow is deep inside, like so. And I put my hand, furthermost part of my forearm, on my thigh. I do not want to put my fingers on it because I do not want to use finger strength and I want to have my legs tight. So I will put my hip side foot in his elbow pit and I will use my heel and the sole of the foot straight below the ankle, and I want to push on the forearm side of his elbow pit. So I do not want to push against his biceps, I want to push against his forearm, like so. And when I push, I do not only push, I close your grip really hard and I push like so, it's difficult to open. So I'm gonna straighten my back, straighten it, then close his shovel grip, and I'm gonna pull his near elbow up and then extend my leg, and his grip likely will come open, and I'm gonna pull the elbow hipwards on my hipward side before I then finish. So that's the basic opener. Now let's do the hand openers. There's 6 of them depending on his grip. The most common grip is the far side grip, especially in beginners. When I attack the arm, he just quickly grabs with his far hand the wrist of his close hand, like so or like so. He just wants to hold on, and it can be difficult to open. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna apply a wrist lock. Very easy and quick. So I'm gonna see, the back of his hand is pointing headwards. So the pressure I want to apply is I want to have flexion in his wrist. So I'm changing my arm, elbow in deep, pull his elbow high up on my chest, and I'm gonna enter this part of my palm, the bottom part of my index finger, and I'm gonna scoop it in. If his hand is really stable, make a fist in your hand stable, and I'm gonna scoop, right? And I'm gonna scoop behind his index finger or his pinky finger, because they are diagonally the furthest apart of the wrist, so the weakest part of his hand. And then I'm gonna simply roll it around, and then I got it. Now I can either try to finish the wrist lock by just pushing his palm towards his elbow, or I can, as soon as I weaken the structure, I can pull and finish. So that's number 1. Depending on how he grips, I can do another variation of it where I use the other hand. So now my hip side arm is in and I'm gonna use my head side arm. I'm gonna do a shovel and I'm gonna grab the pinky this time, and I'm gonna rotate in. Now it's extension. If you want extension, I'm gonna give him extension, but what I actually want is to rotate the hand and again use flexion. Either this way or this way is fine. The next variation would be that he, instead of a far side grip, applies a near side grip where the attacked arm is grabbing the other hand. And I'm gonna use the exact same principle. So I'm gonna hold tight, put the foot in this time, and I'm gonna peel his hand off with a wrist lock. It's almost impossible to apply a wrist lock and finish him on the far side because I have no elbow control. But I can push against and weaken his structure and then pull. Boom. Either with my hip side hand or also with my head side hand. So that's the first techniques and two variations of it. So now the next possible grip would be the Indian grip, like so. If he does an Indian grip, the downside is it's really hard to manipulate his wrist, okay? So now his palm, his fist, is not out in the open, it's not exposed, it's locked. So it's a lot more difficult to apply a wrist lock, near impossible. If I want to wrist lock him now, he's got a lot of strength. So what I'm gonna do now instead is I'm gonna peel his hand off. Several ways to do it. The most basic one is, that's the back of his hand. So I'm gonna put the back of my hand on the back of his hand, like so, and grab with my index finger the side of his pinky, like so. And now I'm gonna lock figure 4 tight on my wrist. And now I'm gonna rotate, and the rotation force will, instead of, now it's 4 fingers and 4 fingers, so this way is a lot of strength, but the rotation, which applies force almost exclusively on his pinky until it's open, then his ring finger, middle and index, I'm gonna peel off 1 finger at a time and then just pull and push to make it impossible for him to close his hands, like so. If he, instead of applying this side Indian grip, he applies the other side Indian grip, I'm gonna use the exact same technique on the other side. Back of the hand to the back of the hand, close, and now see, now I'm gonna put my index finger on the base of his palm, here. And instead of peeling off, I'm gonna use the mechanism of pushing his grip in. Because the Indian grip is really stable only in this direction, but it's unstable against rotation, and it's very easily to open, even if it would be an iron grip, by pushing it this way. And that's what I'm going to do now. See, back of the hand, and now I'm pushing his near hand this way, and I'm pulling his forehand this way, like so. Then it's open, and then just pull, wham, and you're in. So now we have 4 ways. The next way which we would close is a lot better, right? Now we execute the shovel grip. Shovel grip is the #1 grip, best of all. But we can open it. Let's see how. So, right, hip side arm in. Weak side of his grip, it's the pinky and the index finger. I'm gonna apply force against the pinky now. I'm gonna grab below his pinky, hold, and I'm gonna peel it off and rotate in. Now I can either extend the arm or go for the wrist lock, like so. Let me show you that again. So I'm gonna grab here, scoop under his hand just a bit, and rotate his hand off. I'm pushing his fingers inside, like so. So now let's see that again. It's an important detail, often missed. So I am not allowed to attack the small joints, right? So I have to refrain from it. I cannot break his fingers like so. It's forbidden all the time. So what I'm gonna do to apply force onto his fingers is I'm gonna push them into his hand and hold the fingers like so. So I can grab them, I just must not manipulate the small joints. I just grab the small joints. 4 fingers, right? So I can go for it. Bam. That's one way. And the other way of the same grip would be to use the other hand, enter here and rotate, to this side. So again, when he uses this grip, I got 2 variations, pinky way and index finger way. And I can also, instead of peeling it off, I can try to push it in against the wrist, against the pinky way, or also index finger way, like so. The same is true if instead an upwards showing shovel grip he's using, can I show? A downwards showing shovel grip, like so. Yeah, the thumb should be on the other side. Yes. If you expose your thumb for unnecessary means, you risk injury. Even if it's not allowed to attack the thumb, it might happen. It's not worth injuring your thumb. Single most important thumb, thumbs up for thumbs. Fabulous. So you should always use shovel grip and not thumb breaking grip. To oppose your thumb should only be used if it's really necessary to stop a thing from moving the other way, right? So I'm gonna use the same principle, just the same thing. Palm, back of the palm, pinky, index finger, rotation this way, or rotation that way. Now it was flexion or rotation that way. Yes. Same thing. So those are the 6 basic ways of how he can hold his hands, 6 basic ways to open. The next variation would be to use my hip side leg like so. Almost as if I would want to go for a slicer, but instead of putting it on the near forearm, I put it just straight on his hand, on the grip. I close and then I apply pressure, and he very likely will open the grip and I can start attacking. So if he has really tight, boom, close, and push my shin against his grip and pull his elbow up. And now we will try to break his grip with rotation of his upper arm. You pull in and close the feet. I got his elbow closed, so I'm gonna cross my feet now, open the knees, rare thing. It's especially to stop him from applying the hitchhiker escape. So I'm stopping him from using that elbow, right? Now there's 2 ways to do it. First way, as most people do, I'm entering this arm, head arm like so, pull his elbow to my bottom side, grab behind my head, and now lean, and it's open. There's a small risk of hitchhiker escape. If I control his elbow, no hitchhiker at all. A lot better would be to change and come this way, yeah, because that's already a finisher. So I'm using my head sidearm, pull, enter my hip sidearm, close to his wrist, grab behind my head, push my chest forward and rotate to the right. Arm is now open. If I can control him like this, it's gonna be a finisher. But very likely he will now try to extend his arm. He will try to extend the arm, yeah, to free him. And I'm going for armbar again. The hand manipulation, wrist manipulation, depends on his grip. The manipulation of his forearm, trying to put force on his shoulder, is not limited to any grip. It's limited to me having enough control of his elbow and forearm that I can do it. If his elbow is almost out, I'm like here, now there's no forearm manipulation. Now it's all wrist manipulation and trying to gain control again of that arm. So the next way to try and apply enough force to break his grip would be to use your head side arm, enter, forearm on your thigh, grab his leg and lean down. Yes. It might take a while. So the goal is to just, I'm leaning, I'm using my weight. I use next to no force and he's using force. My head leg is grabbing his head. And the bad thing that could happen to me now is that if he would try to use his far leg to control my head. Because if he does, he's now putting pressure against his own grip. The more he's pushing with that leg, the more he's applying force against his own arms. So that's a very good thing for me to just stay here, yeah, and tire him out until the grip eventually comes open. Same principle can be applied with a bit more danger to this way. So I hold tightened up, I tighten. If I have a gi, I grab my own gi, I'm coming tight, and now I'm leaning in. Yes, see, now it's open. And then I can go down and do the armbar again. Also, a possibility would be to grab, close, pull his far side elbow a lot in. See, now his grip is really weak. His far side arm is of no use anymore, and I can just go and finish the armbar. So that's the best way for him to protect against the armbar, to close his hands in the so-called M grip, in the M defense, M control, whatever you call it. It just forms that kind of M. And the far arm should be below my arm, because if it's on top, I'm just gonna scoop it off, right? It's too easy. So that arm needs to be below my hand, okay? Now it's a lot more difficult for me. Two ways to do it. I can try and peel off his hand, like so. Rotate and pull. Let me show you that again. Peel off. Do not extend the fingers. Do push the fingers inside. Peel it off, push it through, close, and then just pull it out of reach of his far side hand, like so. And much more elegant is the way to push the far side hand off, rotate it, like so. Now he's still got a good control. Hold tight. I can't pull it off. Now look. Wham, and open. And that's how you break the M control. Let me show you that again. Now that hand is on top, but just pull. So that hand needs to be hidden. Hidden, like so. Now his attacked arm, his near arm, is hidden on the elbow pit of his far arm. And the elbow pit has much more strength than his fingers could ever have. So I'm gonna get control here, good amount. I could try and use this one here that we did before, which will probably end in a bicep slicer, or I can do the elegant way. Hold tight, open up. Now I'm gonna insert my thumb here, and I'm gonna rotate his hand out. I will not push against his force. I'm gonna rotate his hand. His upper arm stays in the same place, his elbow stays in the almost same place, and his hand is pushed, rotating around. And now I'm gonna use a foot. He cannot push that hand back. It's inward rotation versus extension. So yeah, he would need to be Superman to bring his arm back. He cannot. And I will use one foot. If I use the foot that's on the head side, I give him chance to escape. So I'm gonna use that leg for control of his head, and I'm gonna use the hip side leg on the inside of his elbow, here on his wrist flexors. And I'm just gonna push it off and pull on the arm and finish. Now you know it, time to practice.